Hello students, today we are going to start chapter 5 of history, When People Rebel. In the previous chapters, we studied about the policies of the East India Company and the effect they had on different people. The expansion of the British territories in India and their policies had adversely affected all sections of Indian people. The Rajas, the Nawabs, the landlords, the sepoys, the peasants and the tribals. By mid-19th century, the British had firmly established their political control over India. The resentment among the people had found expression in a number of protests, outbursts, mutinies, rallies, and revolts prior to 1857. The revolt of 1857 began as a sepoy mutiny but gradually took all the sections of people in its fold. It assumed the character of a rebellion and shook the very foundation of the British Empire. Let us understand the meaning and difference between mutiny and revolt. Mutiny is an open rebellion against the proper authorities, especially by soldiers or sailors, whereas revolt is a rebellion of people against established authority and power. So the major difference is here that mutiny is by soldiers or sailors against the higher authorities, and revolt, it is a rebellion of people, the common people, against established authority and power. However, the terms revolt and rebellion can be used synonymously. There was not one single cause for the revolt, but a number of causes like political, administrative, military, economic, social, and religious causes that led to the revolt of 1857. Today we will study about the political causes of the revolt. The Nawabs and the Rajas had seen their power erode. They had gradually lost their authority and honor. Residents had been stationed in many courts, and these residents acted as a spy of the British administration. They tried to interfere into all the affairs of the administration of these Rajas and Nawabs about the appointment of various officials to collection of taxes. Everything was under the control of the residents, and thus the freedom of the rulers was reduced. Their armed forces were disbanded and their revenues and territories taken away by stages through policies like the subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. We had studied earlier about subsidiary alliance. According to the terms of this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent forces. They were to be protected by the company and had to pay for the subsidiary forces. And the doctrine of lapse. It stated that a kingdom could be annexed if the king died without a male heir. So these were the policies, the expansionist policies of the British, which was disliked by the Rajas and Nawabs of India. The annexation of states by subsidiary alliance and the doctrine of lapse created unrest among the rulers of India. The rulers of Hyderabad, Mysore, Tanjore, Jodhpur, Jaipur, Bundi, Bharatpur, they were all forced to accept the subsidiary alliance system. And the states of Satara, Sambalpur, Jaipur, Udaipur, Jhansi, Nagpur were annexed under the doctrine of lapse. Awadh was annexed in the pretext of misgovernance. The British annexed the state of Awadh by declaring that the territory was being misgoverned and the British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. So all this had enraged the Rajas and the Nawabs because their freedom was reduced. The princes of the states were denied their rights of succession. The company did not recognize the adopted son of Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi as the heir to the throne after her husband's death. So again, she too joined the revolt of 1857 because her demands were not fulfilled by the British authorities. The Nawab of Carnatic and Tanjore lost their royal titles. The pension to Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II, was denied and he was forced to live in Kanpur, far away from his ancestral place at Poona. The Muslim feelings had also been greatly hurt as the names of Mughal kings were removed from the coins minted by the company. The announcement of Lord Dalhousie in 1849 held that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, his family would have to leave the Red Fort and reside in some other place given by the company in Delhi. Lord Canning declared in 1856 that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, his successors would not be recognized as kings but would be called as princes. So all these hurt the sentiments of the Muslim population during that time. The harsh policies of the British against thugs. These thugs were people who lived by plundering the wealth of the rich and either keeping it for themselves or giving it to the poor people. So the harsh policies of the British against thugs and irregular soldiers of the native armies had filled them with anger and resentment. These native armies were maintained by the Nawabs or Rajas who had been forced later on to disband their own personal armies because of the subsidiary alliance. So there was a lot of resentment and anger amongst these irregular soldiers of the native armies, and so they all joined the revolt of 1857 and fully supported the rebels. So for today, with this we come to the end of the political causes. Finally, let us take a recap of all the causes, the political causes of the revolt of 1857. So the annexation of the states by the subsidiary alliance system and doctrine of lapse created unrest among the rulers of India. The princes of the states were denied their right of succession, and the adopted sons or the heir to the throne were denied their right of succession. The pension of Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II, was denied. The names of Mughal kings were removed from the coins minted by the company. The announcement to remove Bahadur Shah Zafar and his family from the Red Fort. And after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, his successors would not be recognized as kings. And the policies of the British against the thugs, all these created a lot of resentment amongst the people, like the Nawabs or the rulers, and they all thus joined the revolt of 1857, or either they directly joined in it or they supported it. So these were the political causes. For today we'll deal till here. In the next video we'll deal with the administrative, military, economic, socio-religious and the immediate causes of the revolt of 1857. My request is to please read the chapter thoroughly, watch the video. So, thank you children.